1 Peter chapter 3. Anything? Okay, never mind, I'll use the mic. Alright. I saw a Facebook post from one of our 13 friends, Michelle. And I thought it would be interesting, but it was a story, okay? Please take it just as a story, alright? And this is how the story went. It says 3 women died and went to heaven, right? And before they entered the gates of heaven, they met Saint Peter. Okay? And Saint Peter is traditionally called the gatekeeper. It says that there's one condition. You must not step on a turtle when you enter heaven. Okay? Remember, this is a story. Okay? And sure enough, these 3 women, when they went into heaven, they saw the sea of turtles. The first woman tried, and as she walked in, she couldn't help but step on the turtle. Right? And what happened was that Saint Peter came along, brought a man, and chained her to this man, and said, "You will spend eternity with this fella in heaven." The second woman did the same. She tried to avoid all the turtles, but because they are all over the place, and this is what happened, she stepped on the turtle and came along Peter and brought this man, another man, and chained her to him and said, "You will spend your life in eternity with this man in heaven." Now the third woman looked at the condition of the first two and says, "I will not step on any turtle." Right? And this is what she did. She just, was so super careful, and she didn't step on any turtle. And then she saw Saint Peter come along and brought a man and chained her together and said, "You will spend eternity with this man." And this woman said, question mark, "What did I ever do to deserve this?" And this man replied, "I don't know about you, but I stepped on a turtle." Now, what do you think this story is suggesting? Okay, alright? Is Peter being mean to these 2 women? Okay, remember it's a story, yeah? Are we thankful that there's no marriage in heaven? Alright? And there are no turtles there? Not that I know of, alright? Okay. Is Peter being mean to these 2 women? Or maybe he is just being kind to the first 2 men. Are beauty and good looks good criteria for living happily ever after? Is Peter being shallow? Right? I think many girls here, when they look at, I'm sure when they look at the picture of the third man, they secretly say, "Wow, I want to be the third woman." Alright? Who gets the tall, dark and handsome guy, But what if the third man thinks you're ugly, okay? And is miserable about the thought of spending eternity chained to you? In marriage, especially when you step into a marriage life, there's so many complications, yeah? Different ways of looking at situations and looking at things, okay? And I think we need, as husbands and wives, and future husbands and wives, alright? All our singles here, alright? We need to receive good counsel, wise counsel about growing graciously together. I think for those who are not yet married, singles, I think we can learn from Peter how your future husband should treat you, and how a woman should behave towards the future husband. Then for those of us who are married, we may learn something that can help us strengthen our marriage. Now today I'll just share from mostly principles and quotes, alright, mostly from Ruth Bell Graham, the late wife of Billy Graham. Okay? They were married for 64 years before when she passed away, by the time she passed away, right, in 2007. For those of us who are older, may I encourage you to pass on the life lessons you have learned, the principles in marriage, what will make a strong and fulfilling marriage, to the young couples, so that our young couples, when they go through the seasons of life, they will continue to keep the main thing, right? We all want to have strong homes. They survive the storms of life. They survive the attacks of the evil one. They survive temptation. They survive the pressure and the demands of a tough world. Strong homes begin with strong marriages. And Peter kept this in mind as he writes to husbands and wives how to grow graciously in the context of a marriage. We're going to read the passage in a short while. If I can turn to the next slide. Is this. You see, a good marriage, has been said, is the closest thing to heaven on earth. Alright? But a bad marriage, has been described as hell on earth. The possibility of a first marriage ending in divorce within 5 years is 20%. So for those of us who are married and past the first 5 years, right, past the danger zone, right, all right, that is good news. Okay, but if a couple who are not yet married live together and have sexual relations together, they call it today's term they call it cohabitation. All right, live together as husband and wife, but not married. Their chance of breaking up within 5 years is 49%, and that's serious. Okay. Another study found that marital satisfaction improves once the children leave home, when you've got emptiness. But if problems within your marriage are not resolved, because a lot of children are at home, alright, an emptiness will then open up and reveal those issues that you now suddenly live as strangers rather than husband and wife. But marriage has its positive. Psychologists in Wake Forest University says it does more to promote life satisfaction than money, sex, or even children. Okay? Alright, this is an encouragement for us, who says, I want to get married, I'm not yet married, but I want to have a life partner, I'm praying for a life partner. This is good encouragement. And it says that compared to singles, okay, married people accumulate four times more savings and assets than those who are singles. So each one of us is a work in progress. At the end of our life, earthly life, we should be able to say, praise God, construction completed. But at the same time, for those of us who are married and who end our life married, we should be able to say to our spouse, commitment fulfilled. Alright? That I want to encourage us in this. And Peter here gives us some principles of being able to say that at the end of our earthly life to our wife or to our husband. Let's read together, since it's a flash up there. 1 Peter 3, verse 1 to 7. Wives, in the same way, submit yourselves to your own husbands, so that if anyone do not believe the word, they may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives. When they see the purity and reverence of your lives, Your beauty should not come from the outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. For this is the way of the holy women of the past, who put their hope in God and used to adorn themselves. They submitted themselves to their own husbands, like Sarah, who obeyed Abraham and called him her Lord. You are her daughters if you do what is right and do not give way to fear. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives and treat them with respect as a weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. This is the word of God. Shall we just pause for a quick prayer before the Lord? Lord, your word is life, and it's only with your help and with your Holy Spirit give breathing life into our spirit, O God, granting us understanding that is not of the world but spiritual understanding. As we send this now, open our eyes, O Lord, to see and to hear what you have to say to us. So, Lord, let the meditation of our hearts, words of our lips, be acceptable to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Many times when we read this, we see it as a demand, alright? That wives should submit. And there is some implications that has been drawn up wrongly. I want to start by saying this is what Peter is not saying. Next slide. Peter is not saying that the husband can treat his wife any way he wants. Right? Don't force her against her will. Peter is not saying that the wife is a piece of property that you can transact, a thing, an object. He is not saying that the wife is to meet every demand, no matter how unreasonable it is, of the husband. You see, in Peter's time, in the first century, women were treated like pets, household pets. Alright? There was a strong Greek and Roman cultural influence in the society and in the church. And the role of the women then, okay, among that culture was simply to cook, to clean, and to have babies. And Peter is saying, women, there's more. Okay? Husbands, you need to recognize there's more. They were being viewed during that time as being inferior to men. They were not considered as important. Their views were not considered as important. They were not given the respect and the honor that God has ordained for them. Now, Peter is also not saying that he is against makeup, jewelry, and such. Right? He's not saying that women are less than men. There are two groups that Peter was addressing. First to the Greek and Roman believers, and secondly to the Jewish. And in the Jewish society, the roles and rights of the women were also limited. They had limited rights of inheritance, right? And they had limited rights in the choice of their relationships. They had limited rights and ability to pursue education or even participate in the synagogue. Remember, in the temple there is a court of the women and a court of the Gentiles. The women cannot come in and mix, right, with the men. They were segregated. They cannot even draw even closer. The men were supposed to be closer to God. The women were left behind, right? And they were not able to move about freely. He is also not saying that men are better than women. There's another group of Christians, because this letter is written to Asia Minor. Peter also recognized that women then, in Asia Minor, they engaged in private businesses. They were able to serve in public office. They had prominent roles in religion, in the pagan religion. And they were able to vote and hold office, right? So let's recognize this and get this out of the way, so that we don't come in with the wrong idea, what Peter is not saying. But what is Peter saying? verse to the women is this. He says, in the context of the first chapter and the second chapter, it says, "Be holy." God says, "Be holy, as I am holy." The gospel has to have preeminence in your life, and each one of us are supposed to live holy lives in order that the gospel of Christ will not be hindered. Right? When you share the gospel, people look at your life, they see a transformed life. Right? And he urges women, wives, okay, to live respectable life in society in order to maintain a good reputation for the gospel. He said this because he says, "You submit not because out of compulsion, but as unto the Lord, because you have tremendous influence over your non-believing husband, over your children, over your extended family." Peter doesn't want to see any accusation that can be leveraged against the gospel, against the church of Christ, against the name of Christ. So he encourages the women first in verse 1 and 2. It says, "By your behavior, analyze your actions. Think about what you are doing and think about how you are reacting." Because many wives tend to view the role in this conditional way. They say, "I'll only be the kind of wife I should be if my husband is the kind of man that he should be." Alright? If he treats me nice, I will try not to nag him too much. If he treats me nice, bring me flowers, I'll cook him an extra dish of steak. You know? If he treats me nice, you know, he doesn't shout at me, right? Okay, I'm not saying that husband should shout at the wives, huh? Alright? Okay? But if he doesn't shout at me, then I'll speak sweetly and gently to him. Okay? Alright? Peter says that, alright, talk about disobedient or unbelieving husbands, husbands that do not believe the word. They are clearly not measuring up to the God's standard. So even if your husband does not live up to your high expectations or deserve your respect, you still need to submit to his authority. It's the same principle. Alright? Even if those of our leaders in positions of authority and power, alright? Our ministers, our chief minister, our prime minister, alright? We still honor and respect the office that he holds. Even for our leadership, right? Our leaders may not be the kind of person that we hope and expect them to be yet, alright? But we still honor the office. The office of the chairman, the vice chairman, the directors of ministry, things like that, your team leaders, alright? And that's why the challenge is for husbands who hear this message, for all of us, is to rise up to the standard that our wife can easily submit to us as they submit to Christ. Alright? So, Peter wisely counsels wife, you are responsible for you, not your husband. That's God's job. And Ruth Graham, right, says, "It is my job to love and to respect Billy." I'll be sharing a lot of quotes because I'm picking these quotes from a particular article that I read. You know, I thought it would fit in very well. It's my job to love and respect Billy. It's God's job to make him good. God called you not to make your husband good, but to make him happy. Now, some of us may take exceptions to that. All right? Okay? But that's mutual, isn't it? It's not only for when we say when a young couple, you know, stands in church or before the registrar and says, "I will commit my life to you, you know, for better or for worse." Their commitment is to meet the needs of the other. Whether your husband is a Christian or not, your behavior is first of all under submission to God, then to your husband. That's why it says, live out your marriage as unto the Lord. wives in the same way. And this is repeated twice, right? In the same way. What does it mean in the same way? It means that it's talking about submission to the Lord, if you read the previous passage. As you submit to God, as you draw close to God, in the same way you are to make the effort, all right, and the commitment to draw close to your spouse. Submission means simply to yield yourself into the authority or the will of another person. It is a choice that you make. All right. When you enter into marriage, remember you make the choice. All right. And don't complain about your wife's choices because she chose you. All right. Whatever taste she has, whatever the fashion she likes, whatever color of the curtain she chooses, don't complain. All right. Okay. Why you make some poor choices? You will be pointing at yourself. All right. Okay. So, okay. But submission means that we are dependent on one another, and we need to adjust and to accommodate one another. You see, Ruth and Billy, again, were raised in two different types of families. Ruth grew up in China, all right? The family worships in a Presbyterian church, all right? And she had no experience of submitting to her husband's authority, the way Billy Graham was raised as a Southern Baptist. Our roots are Southern Baptists, all right? Yeah? Okay. Ruth was once driving. I remember, I can relate to that because at one time, I just got my license, and I was parking at the shop lot, I just coming home, right? At the shop lot, and with my experience, as I glide into the parking area, okay, I thought I'm going to press the brake. Instead, I pressed the accelerator and ended up in the Leong, okay? The car get half hanging like this. Alright, so Ruth had the same experience. It says, she was driving and hit the accelerator instead of the brake. So it sent the car crashing through a fence. No one was hurt, but Billy Graham, the husband, called her and said that she must surrender her driver's license. Okay, now if you are the wife, how would you sense, And Ruth will not take this thing from the husband, She argued with him and then she stood her ground. Then, Billy Graham being Billy Graham, he knows the scripture. Said, I don't recall remembering and reading scripture that Sarah ever talked to Abraham like this. And Ruth, also knowing the scripture, replied back. He says, well, I don't recall reading in scripture that Abraham ever tried to take Sarah's camel away from her. We need to adjust, all right? Okay, how many times have you argued over these things, all right? One demands of the other, and both are equally right. Okay. What happens? Okay. I didn't know the rest of the story. Apparently, this is one woman, right? That Billy Graham met this match. And actually, and when they were when they were introduced as friends, she went and checked him out. Ladies, you must check out the man. And what happened was that it was in college, and this young man flew past her, and she turned around and kind of hit her a bit. It says this young man is in a hurry, and she began to find out a bit more. And what happened was that later on she checked out, and when she heard him pray at a church service or ministry service, she says, "This is one man to whom he knows whom he's praying to. He knows his God." He was impressed. She was touched by his faith. And later on, after the first date, right, she knelt before the Lord and said, "I would be privileged if I could spend my life with this man." After the first date. Okay. But secondly, as you look at your actions, it says, what's your adornment? What is an adornment? Adornment is the pretty things that you put on, right? Your makeup, things like that. And Peter says, your beauty should not come from the outward adornment. He says, watch what you wear. Okay? Some people say, wrongly say, in verse 3 it says, women should not wear makeup, tie their hair, wear jewelry. No. These scriptures are not meant to stop this. Alright? But it is to place them in its proper perspective in terms of relative importance. Peter is saying that your inner beauty of a woman, alright, should be of a higher level than your physical beauty. Alright? Do you know that literally at that time, the high-class ladies would soak their hair in gold to become pretty? Alright, today's term, you dye your hair lah. Alright, okay, but they literally soak their hair in gold flakes so that they can stand out more, right? But let's be practical, if the church needs painting, paint it, okay? If the house needs painting, paint it, alright? A little makeup will do wonders, okay? Why? It's my personal thing. I feel that when a woman takes care of her own looks, she exhibits a kind of femininity and a kind of dignity because she cares about her appearance. Alright? So this is something we need to recognize. Women, you contribute something beautiful into a man's world. When I was single, right, my curtain was, I've shared this before, I think, a piece of plywood. Okay? And on it was stuck all my flow charts and diagrams. When we moved in, when Pat moved into my life, right? Okay? As husband and wife, even though we're still staying in the same short lot, the plywood was replaced by beautiful curtains. There was flowers, there was a nice tablecloth, things like that. Okay? Women, you contribute beauty into the world. Never allow anyone to take it away from you. Okay? So husbands, this passage is saying, do we appreciate the beauty and the order that your wife brings into your life, into your home, even into your ministry and into the work life? The church, as I said, needs the woman's touch. It needs the final touch. Worship needs the final touch. This morning as we worship the Lord, it's not just about music. It's not just about singing. But there is a sense of beauty when you encounter the Lord. And this is what I sense this morning. Right? I don't know about you, but I sense this. There is a beauty that comes into contact with the Spirit of the Lord. And this is what the church needs. Each one of you. So ladies, don't just leave the things to the guys, and guys, don't just leave the things to the ladies. There is a need for both. Right? That's why when I told Sister Sidel, when we get this building done, the new sanctuary done, I leave the happy job of looking at and filling in the interior, the curtains and whatever, to her and her team. Right? Because I am not able to do that. Okay? And when she calls for help and calls for ideas and to look at the interior, the finishing and other things, I hope that all of us, who are able to come alongside and help her. Alright? Help her fill the sanctuary with the final things that will please God. Amen? Amen. Amen. Alright? So, husbands, okay? When you appreciate the beauty and order that your wife brings into your home, help her maintain it lah, okay? Enhance it lah. Don't stress her out. So keep back the things where they should belong. Give her a generous home improvement budget. Compliment her looks. Bring her shopping for shoes. What the lady say? Amen. Alright? Okay. You know that the cosmetic industry in 2016 in the US alone, just for makeup, is worth 62 billion US dollars. And in a worldwide, skincare is expected to reach $121 billion. Yeah? Why do I say this? Those in the world know the needs and the sensitivity of a woman. So men, guys, one thing to remember: never put down a girl's looks. Alright? Never criticize a girl's looks. And especially for husbands, don't criticize your wife's looks. Is that alright? Okay. Remember, your wife would feel hurt and resentful when you make fun of their femininity or their beauty. But one thing Ruth said this. He talks about buildings. Buildings fall into decay and eventually disappear. Our physical looks will also fade, right? But it says the important thing, your inner life, the transformed life, goes on forever. And what is important for us as believers in Christ is to ensure that our life is transformed. Third, as you look at your actions, as you look at your adornment, it says, check your attitude. Verse 4. Focus on the inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit. Okay. External beauty is temporary, but internal beauty is eternal. Peter is saying. And this is attractive to God. Okay. And how does Peter describe it? As a gentle and quiet spirit. Now this is not saying that the wife never speaks at home, alright? Or has no opinions of her own. But there is a gentleness and there is a quietness, there is a calmness when she expresses her opinions. Right? And that is precious in God's sight. That is precious. Ladies, wives, your real power does not lie in seduction. Your real power lies in the gentleness and in your inner. A person who is dressed up, alright, with a meek and quiet spirit knows who you are. You know what you are and you know where you stand in relation to everyone else in your family and in your context. They are not, a gentle wife is not overbearing. Nor do they demand that everything they must have their own way. Meekness is not weakness, but is strength under control. So a quiet spirit rests in the Lord. Something that we learned last Sunday. Learn to rest in the Lord. Ruth says this: if only God will enable me to tend to the possible, then allow me to depend on Him on the impossible. What is impossible with man is possible with God. But many times we try the impossible, but we do not attend to the possible. How did Moses part the Red Sea? No, he used his stick. That day he called out his stick and then struck it, right? And that's it. Okay? That's what he did. It was possible for him, but God did the rest. The home should be a place of quiet peacefulness. And this responsibility, Ruth says, falls squarely on the mother's shoulders. Uncomfortably, whenever Proverbs speak of nagging, it is the woman to whom Solomon is referring. There is no way around it. The woman, she says this, the woman creates the atmosphere of the home. Are you the kind of wife? Are you the kind of wife to be, young lady, who start now to create a beautiful home? Don't wait until you're married, then you say, I want to start. Learn the skills. Learn the spirit of creating or setting up a home, even when you are still single. So check our attitudes. Who is it that you're living for? Are you living for yourself? Are you living just for your husband? Or are you living for the Lord? And also, check your attention, verse 5 and 6. You see, it says Sarah obeyed Abraham. Peter used a practical example. He used the example of Sarah. The word obey simply means to listen attentively, to pay close attention to. It is the idea of attending to the needs of another. And wives, for us to grow graciously, to help your husband grow graciously in marriage, in his marriage relationship with you. Learn to properly respond to the needs of your husbands and your family. For example, when your husband returns home, again, please understand, I'm not just siding with the husband, right? But something is a need. Okay? When your husband returns home, he needs your company. Okay? He needs your company. He doesn't need your complaint. He doesn't need your criticism. Why does a husband choose to come home rather than end up in the bar, or in a pub, or in another place? It's because he says, first, I choose to come home. Secondly, he says he sees his home as a place of refuge, a place that is away from the stresses of the world, a place where he can begin to unwind from the things. No matter how busy and how flustered you have been in your day at home, okay? Please don't greet your husband with criticism. Please don't greet your husband with complaints. Okay? There is a time and place that you can begin to talk about your day, all right? And the husband can talk about his day. But I hope that you would remember this principle. You see? Solomon himself says this: better to live at the corner of a roof than share a house with than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Okay? And we've been trying to troubleshoot our leaking problems. I know it's so frustrating. Yeah. Okay. To the point that on Friday evening I said I want to climb the roof at night with a contractor friend, to see where the leaks are. Very frustrating. Yeah? It says this. A quarrelsome wife is like a constant dripping of a leaky roof. You don't know where the source is, and it's very frustrating. I'm not excusing, please understand, I'm not excusing the man should say frustrated or should respond negatively. But the man has his role to react gently back. And if there's nothing good to be said, at least keep his mouth shut for the time being, okay, until he cools down. So we cannot control the actions and the attitudes and the words of another person, okay? But we can control how we respond to those actions, attitudes, and words. You and I, because of the power of the resurrected Christ and the resurrected life in us, we now have a choice in how we respond to things. Ruth said this, Ruth Graham says this: quit studying the problems and start studying the promises of God. Okay? I learned that worship and worry cannot live in the same heart. They are mutually exclusive. Now, Sarah called her husband Lord. Now, we must remember, Abraham was not a perfect husband. In fact, he kind of let her go into the king's harem twice. Okay? He didn't even rise to protect her. He said, she is my sister. Actually, a half-sister, correct? But he did not even raise a hand to protect her. Right? It was God who protected Sarah. And Sarah, 65 years old, the king saw her beauty. He says, come in, I want you for my brutal wives, my harem. Right? And then when she was 90, another king saw her beauty and it says, 90 years old, I want you to be part of my harem. Okay? So all of you ladies who are 65 and above, no problem, you are still beautiful. Alright? Alright? Amen? Alright? No, Abraham was no perfect husband, but yet she called Abraham her Lord, her master. Alright? In giving Abraham her attention, she was paying attention to God. And it's how Ruth said this, okay? In this way. It says that it is good to know how to disagree and when with your husband. Here are a few suggestions. It says, 1, define the issue. Okay? If you need to disagree, try to clarify in your mind what is the problem and whether it's worth disagreeing about. Secondly, watch your tone of voice. Be courteous. Okay? Don't interrupt, avoid being rude, unkind, or unnecessary personal remarks in the heat of the argument. Third, it says stick to the subject. Don't bring subjects from another 10 years ago, alright? Okay, which should have been resolved. Never let the sun go down on your anger. If you have a problem, resolve it and then forget it. No, leave it already. Okay? 4, stick to the facts. What is the actual situation? 5th, if you need to give in graciously, not grudgingly. Okay? So it takes both sensitivity and ingenuity on the part of the wife and of the husband. Okay? Then it says, it is wise, okay, it is not wise, in red, it is not wise to disagree with a man when he is tired, hungry, worried, ill-occupied, or pressured. And nor does it pay to argue with your husband unless you are looking your very best. Okay? So avoid arguing when you are boiling mad over some issue. And these are practical tips. Why? Because a man is very visual. Okay? A man is visual. Most men. Right? If there's something that's not attractive, it tends to create a negative barrier in him. Okay? Why is it that if you look at the corporate world, okay? Now remember, your husband works in the corporate world, most of them, if they work in the office and things like that, he is surrounded with high-powered ladies, dressed as attractively to persuade whatever things they need to convey, in terms of their ideas and opinions. Now he has this image in mind. Person, he comes home and you have an idea or something to present to him, and you are not dressed attractively. I'm not saying that you must wear all your jewelry, a ton of gold and things like that, alright? But be presentable, okay? Yeah? You prepare him visually, right? And you probably win him over. First, outwardly, secondly, by the sweet and gentle spirit. So, are you shaping, wives? Are you shaping or patterning your life? Modeling after Sarah's role model. Continue to pray and submit for your husband, whether they're Christians or not. This is what it says. Next, I'm closing up, is this. What the husband is saying to husband. What Peter is saying to husbands, okay? Some people like to say, hey, there were 6 verses, okay, that Peter gave to the wife and only 1 verse to the husband, okay? Alright? But the truth is this. Peter was looking out for the wives. He was caring for the wives. Why? Because the commentator says this. The wife's position during his time, alright, in the 1st century, I think even now, is far more difficult than that of the husband. If a husband becomes a Christian, normally he will automatically bring his wife with him into the church, and there will be no problems because of the authority. But if the wife becomes a Christian, while her husband did not, she was taking a difficult step, and it will create problems in the home. That's why, my dear friends, young people, I know you are eager to explore romance and things like that, but please, please, don't date a non-Christian. You can be friends, alright? But don't get started on that relationship. Okay? It's already tough enough to forge or to firm up a relationship with a Christian. Alright? So, please take note. And note to myself as well. Okay? Alright? I have to advise Jeremy as well. Okay? Alright, he's coming back to the home. Okay? So please take note. Say verse 7. Husbands, in the same way be considerate as you live with your wives. Treat them with respect as a weaker partner, as heirs with you of the gracious life, gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. There are three areas I just like to highlight. One, it says live with your wife. Okay? He didn't say, wife, live with your husband, because that's natural. Okay? Live with your wife means, husbands, you're responsible for the intimacy in your marriage. For the close togetherness, somebody said, you know. The word they use here is living together, actually is used for a sexual relationship, not physical relationship between a husband and wife. That closeness of intimacy. It says, husbands, you're responsible for that, not the wives. So you have to make effort. And it's not easy. Because the woman wants details. Right? Men just give one-line summary. Okay? Executive summary. Alright? What was the conversation about? And I go back and it says, how was it? Pat says, and it says, it's fine. Okay. Yeah. Done. So I like her to accompany me for visits. Then she knows the details. I don't have to explain to her. Okay. Alright? So, if you are dating, by the way, alright? If you are dating, right? Yeah? Okay. Look for someone who can share your heart and your vision for ministry. Who doesn't mind, going along with you when they're able. Amen? Yeah, alright, amen. Husbands, wives, you can be involved in ministry together. Alright? So that there's something that you don't have to repeat. For husbands, I think we're already exhausted by the end of the dealing with the issue. And then you have to rehash again. It brings up all the emotions. Alright? All the blood pressure will go up again. And that's why it's, husbands and men like to give one-line summary. Okay, it's fine, it's not okay. Problem to be resolved next week. Okay? Yeah, that's it. Okay? Because we don't want to think about it. That's the needs of a man. Right? Because we talk about it again, creates that emotional upset or whatever. We don't want to believe it. Good things, yes, we want to do. Like gaming, oh yes, okay. Okay. Alright, secondly, live your wives, okay? Secondly, it says know your wives, okay? Live with your wife with understanding. Because many times we're caught up with our own thing, right? We fail to really know our wives. Okay? Know what makes her tick and know what ticks them off. What pleases them and what makes them upset. Okay? Now, for example, this is where usually in marriage, especially in the early years, we have this problem. See, a man's need for identity means that how does a man find his need for identity? He works. Okay? He normally works. His identity is found, right? His identity is found through his occupation or through his work. Good living and a good life, then he feels he's adequate, he feels his worth, right? So the husband devotes his time and his energy to work. And once they get married, the marriage relationship takes a second place. That's normally the case. But on the side of the woman, the new bride, right? builds her identity through the husband and family. So there's a strong, she wants time, she wants intimacy. That's a need, is it? So if she's frustrated and if the husband does not provide that intimacy, right? And they do not develop as expected, what happens? She turns to the children and gets her life revolve around the children. And once the children leave, the emptiness syndrome, and she is ready to discover her time, her identity. Maybe she goes for further studies and things like that, or goes out to work again. Husband come back, retire already, want to develop intimacy for the wife. The wife is already on a different plane already. Yeah? So that's where we need to make an effort. We need to be aware. This is an example. Ruth says this: young husbands seldom mean to be cruel, but being new at the business of marriage and unable to see the things the way new brides do, they can be thoughtless. Okay? So seek to educate one another. Seek to educate one another. Pity the married couple who expect too much from one another. It is foolish it is a foolish woman who expects her husband to be to her that which only Jesus Christ can be. Always ready to forgive, totally understanding, endlessly patient, invariably tender and loving, unfailing in every area, anticipating every need and making more than adequate provision. And Ruth says this: such expectation puts a man under impossible strain. That's the wisdom of a wife of 64 years. And finally, honor your wife. Okay? Husbands are to assign their wives a place of honor. If there is a place of honor, you keep it, you protect it, you value it. Okay? Do you see your wife in the same manner? To honor your wife, Charles Swindoll says, assign them the top priority on your list of human relationships, in your schedules, and most importantly, in your house. There are times I have to turn down appointments because I want to spend time with her. I hope you understand. Sometimes I say I cannot make the appointment, I have to reschedule. Because it's been a long day, I've been away from home, and I want to spend time with my wife. Husbands, do you ever feel this need? That you are willing to take half a day off, or maybe a couple of hours off in the afternoon, and bring your wife out, even in the midst of the busy day? Or invite her to come out for lunch with you, together with your colleagues, so that you can just spend time with her? Do you do that? You see, their second daughter, Billy Graham's second daughter, says that my dad didn't have to seek my mother's advice to get it. Yeah, okay. There's a time that he told him about him fussing at her because he just didn't want her opinion. He doesn't like opinionated women, and he had a house full of them. Okay. It took a while for a man who has been living independently to take on his partner and consult her. And I think in those stories, Daddy was just learning to be a husband. Today, she would not only consult her opinion, she would respect it and honor it and listen to her. And this is what she said, the wife, Ruth said to Billy at one time. One time in 1943, Billy Graham accepted a call to pastor the Western Springs Baptist Church, 20 miles outside of the place where they were staying. He didn't ask his bride-to-be what she thought of the idea, but Ruth did not let that stop her from telling him. She actually told him off, scolded him. So pastoring a church, she believed, would sidetrack him from his call to evangelism. She knows his mission, his call in life. So it was a lesson after the scolding from the wife, right? The reprimand from the wife. that Billy would remember for years to come. Later, under pressure, he was already very popular, under pressure to run for political office, right? He heeded her advice. And this is what she said to him. When God calls you to be an evangelist, you don't stoop to become president. When God calls you to be evangelist, you don't stoop to become the president of the United States. That is how she supported him and his call. So Christ elevates the status of women, and Peter simply echoes their value, as he reminded husbands that wives are their fellow heirs in Christ. Okay? So last is this, and I've just mentioned this briefly, is this. Peter talks about prayer. When your relationship with your wife is growing healthily, you find God responds to your prayers. If you find that your prayers are being hindered, somewhere your relationship with someone is broken. If you are not yet married, alright, there is a relationship somewhere that's broken. You need to resolve it. Because the Word of God says, if you come to the altar and then remember that a brother has something against you, leave your gift at the altar, you go and settle it with your brother, then the two of you come back and offer that gift. Right? So in respecting your wife, he's saying to husbands, both of you and your wife's prayers will be answered. And he's simply echoing what Jesus says. If two of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Where two or three gather in my name, there am I with them. So Ruth has this to say. A happy marriage is the union of two good forgivers. And after the forgiving comes laughter, a deeper love, and this is what it says. There will be further opportunities to forgive. That means that there will still quarrel and make mistakes. Right? And Billy Graham closes it and says, it is better, it gets better as you get older. And the secret is this, my dear friends. That's why we encourage us, for those of us who are seeking life partners, pray for a Christian life partner. The secret is this, the Lord Jesus Christ, to have Him in the center of your life. Amen? Father, we come before you and we just want to pray that you help those of us who are married today to grow graciously together in marriage, remembering the principles of giving attention to you, giving attention to one another, of understanding our own actions, reactions, of placing priority in the development of our inner spirit of God, to make sure that our attitude is Christ-like, and to make sure that our focus is on Jesus Christ. So draw us close to you, O God, we pray, so that we may draw close to one another. And this is my prayer also for those of us who are not yet married, who are seeking a life partner. We pray. I pray for them that they'll be patient in waiting upon you, in resting in your promise, and also in preparing their own lives right now to be a godly husband or a godly wife. In Jesus' name we pray.